Let's have a look at a couple of clips here, because Keir Starmer is always telling us that he's going to make it easier for working people to have more money in their pockets, right? Here's what he said last year when he went to Lidl.
The important thing to remember is it's bills down and jobs up. That will make a big difference to you and your customers. Getting rid of the red tape, getting rid of the bureaucracy, and bringing the price of food in particular down. But you do get quite a regular number of people who live locally who will shop in their local shops.
Yeah, I agree. Because I grew up around here as well. So
where did you grow up?
Next to King's Cross.
Oh yeah.
So we don't have to queue up to go to EU anymore.
No, this is good. The e-gates. This is the bit that most people will feel the impact of first. Getting rid of the problems with e-gates, getting off the plane and have to wait in a queue, particularly one we didn't have to wait. And it's so much better to be here with you than it is in Parliament. Yeah. It's the people that it really impacts. Thank you for your time. Really good to see you, and thanks for what you do.
Dear God. He's just hopeless, isn't he? E-gates. He's talking to people in a supermarket who probably can't afford to go on holiday, really, and if they can afford to go on holiday, they'll be going somewhere in Britain. E-gates. E-gates. That's it. E-gates. I mean, dear me. How about Ed Miliband? He reckons we're going to save £300 a year on our energy.
This was based on independent modelling, which is what we used in the election, that said that bills would be up to £300 lower in a clean power system. And what I was going to say, Naga, and this is really, really important, is we now have the National Energy System Operator, the independent body that has looked at these plans and says it's achievable, which is really important. It gives us energy security, it will lower the cost of electricity, and it can lead to lower bills.
Yeah, except it hasn't led to lower bills. The bills have gone up. And Ross Clark has written a piece in The Sun today. Ed is the big green dictator, forcing wind and solar power on the UK. And they've done a rather good sort of stitch-up of him looking like some kind of Russian dictator. Ross, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
The one thing that Ed Miliband is completely and utterly consistent in is saying that he's going to save us £300 a year, and then completely and utterly not fulfilling that wish.
Yes, yeah, we should never, ever let him forget that he made this promise, save us £300 a year on our bills as a result of his green energy policies. Actually, since Labour came to power in July last year, average bills have risen by £150, so it's not quite going in the right direction, is it? And but it's the cheek of the government, and not just Ed Miliband himself, but his junior energy minister, Michael Shanks, yesterday described the rise in the Ofgem price cap as a fossil fuel penalty, he said, you know, intimating that the reason our bills are so high is because we're still relying on fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Gas
Which is
power
another absolute and utter untruth, isn't it?
Well, it is. But I mean, let's just look at this. If you know, it is Britain's reliance on gas for powering electricity that is, you know, giving us such high bills, then explain this. Why does the US have domestic electricity prices which are 1/3 of what Britain's are, when it is more reliant on gas power than we are? Yeah. In America, they generate 42% of their electricity from gas. Right. In Britain, it's 30%. So, you know, we have one of the greenest sort of mixes of electricity generation in the world, but we also happen to have the highest domestic electricity prices of any member state of the International Energy Agency. And, you know, to try to claim that we're somehow, you know, paying through the nose because we're reliant on fossil fuels is completely and utterly wrong.
Right. And that is the problem, that, you know, again, people in this country are sick to death of the government just gaslighting them and lying to them. You know, Keir Starmer keeps telling us that, you know, the economy's the fastest growing in the G7. And, you know, Rachel Reeves keeps telling us that, you know, she's creating jobs, and the only reason that the interest rates of mortgages are coming down is because she's doing the right thing and making the economy work. And people are going, I don't believe a word of it. I'm sorry, that's not my experience. And then when Ed Miliband comes out and goes, don't worry, with more and more wind energy, we're going to transform the energy landscape of Great Britain. And it's all just rubbish. It's cobblers.
It is, and you know, Rachel Reeves trying to claim credit for lowering interest rates. I tell you, never mind the Bank of England's base rate. Look at what the yield on 10-year government bonds is
Yes.
doing. Now that's the
That's the
interest
kind of
rate on
yardstick, isn't
government
it?
IOUs, and it's a
Right.
vote of confidence in international investors, what they think of Britain's ability to repay its debts. And that 10-year bond yield is going through the roof because it's higher than it was, you know, in the aftermath of Liz Truss's mini budget. And that is a direct result of Labour and Rachel Reeves failing to get hold of public finances.
Yeah, exactly right. But also, we are a reasonably intelligent electorate, I think. I think most people who go out and vote every single time there's a general election know what they're voting for, and they know that when somebody's talking absolute rubbish, they can actually see through it, you know, because they can see every time their household bills go up, every time their electricity bill goes up, every time their petrol bill goes up, every time their food bill goes up. You know, inflation is a thing in this day and age, and, you know, you can't keep telling us that everything's going well and everything's going to get better and cheaper if it isn't.
No, you can't. I mean, inflation is a direct product of Britain living beyond its means, essentially. I mean, we've got Rachel Reeves and government awarding these fat pay rises to public sector workers when productivity in the public sector is falling. And you can't, a society cannot just pay itself more and expect to enjoy higher living standards if it's not actually producing more. Inflation is the mechanism which stops us having this sort of perpetual motion machine, the economic equivalent of a perpetual motion machine. You cannot get something from nothing.
Yes.
If you're not producing more, then living standards are not going to rise.
Exactly right. And we had a guest on in the last hour, and I tried to get out of him exactly why it is necessary for us to subsidise our energy bills, our own energy bills, right? Because a large portion of our energy bills is made up of subsidies, and it's made up of a standing charge, which continues to go up. And again, lots of people say, if you want to get energy bills down, just get rid of the standing charge. But we also know that we are subsidising not only the green energy, but also the fossil fuel energy. And I said to this guy, why are we subsidising that? And he couldn't answer it.
Yeah, I mean, what we've got at the moment, the reason why our electricity is so expensive is because we've got to sort of operate two parallel energy generating systems. We've actually already got enough wind turbines to produce all our power on a windy and, you know, in a sunny day as well. We've got enough wind and solar energy to power Britain in ideal conditions. But of course, conditions never are ideal. And sometimes that wind and solar energy drops away to virtually nothing, particularly on cold winter evenings. So we have to have this other sort of parallel electricity generating system as backup, and that's mostly produced through gas. So it's the way we're using gas which makes electricity so expensive. It's not, if we were operating gas stations running constantly, they'd be far more efficient, and we just keep turning them off and turning them on and turning them up.
But what is the actual answer to that question? Because that's what the question I couldn't get an answer from him is, why do we have to keep subsidising every single energy company, whether it's solar, whether it's wind, or whether it's fossil fuel? Why are we paying for the subsidisation of companies who are making a very, very fat profit, thanks very much indeed, thanks to our consumers?
Yeah, we're subsidising that, and then...
Why, though?
You know, and then we, of course, you know, when electricity bills rose during energy bills rose in 2022, the government was subsidising our energy bills as well. I mean, it's just kind of this sort of junky economy where everything gets subsidised because, you know, we've got this
but it's not capitalism. We were supposed to run
it's a bogus sort of energy, it's bogus markets we've created in energy, which end up just sort of consuming subsidy all the time, far worse than when it was all nationalised, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand it. Anyway, listen, thank you very much indeed. Page 10, of course, of the Sun today. Ross Clark is Ed is the big green dictator forcing wind and solar power on the UK. And the Sun's headline in the leader column, which is their editorial, basically says, "Blow hard Ed. Ed Miliband's pre-election pledge to cut energy bills by £300 is looking more of a fantasy than his crazed net zero dream. And they say we're all paying the price for the Energy Secretary's madness. Because we are. And we shouldn't be. It makes no sense at all. But check it out on page 10 of The Sun.